My parents taught me, always introduce yourself wherever you go. And as you can see there, fairly busy life at the moment. I used to be a teacher at Penley and Eston Grammar School for 22 years and thoroughly enjoyed the opportunity to have the greatest job in the world, which was inspiring and educating kids. I'm a family man. Only reason I stand up here today is due to the amazing support of my wife, who's the most beautiful, patient, supportive person in the world, and my three kids, Thomas, Lily, Benjamin, and my puppy dog, Gigi. You can't forget your puppy dog. And when I come home every night, she is the happiest person to see me. And really, no matter what kind of day you had, she's sitting there smiling, jumping all over you like she met you for the first time. I'm an Uber car driver, and there's one of my clients there, and that's another story. And really thoroughly enjoy the opportunity now to ferry people home across Melbourne. And they say I'm the number one Uber driver in Melbourne, but you'll have to come to Melbourne and find out. I was very lucky enough to be born in Fiji. My mum and dad they're Australians who were teaching English over there, and I spent my first years of my life in Fiji. It'd be great if I could remember it, but I've been very lucky to link up with some amazing organisations which are helping me to learn about my culture and my heritage from my birth nation. I also spend time now and have spent over the last 22 years as a community coach and inspiring other kids in the community to achieve their potential through sport. That photo in the top right there is the Pakistan AFL International Cup team, women's team, first one ever, and most of the amazing experience that I've ever been involved in, where 25 women from Pakistan got on a plane on a Thursday, arrived in Melbourne on a Friday. They told me they'd been training at AFL, but they really had no idea what was going on. Half of them couldn't speak English. They didn't know the rules. They were about 10 to 20 to 50 kilos and probably a foot or 3 foot shorter than everyone else. But they went out there once they put their jersey on, and they were bulletproof and represented their country, and thoroughly enjoyed the opportunity to play AFL. Currently coach girls sport also at Genesano College, and thoroughly enjoying that opportunity as well. What is Footies for All? It's really pretty basic. We just distribute sporting equipment to kids through clinics. We use the power of really distributing hope through the power of sport. And most importantly, leave them with the ball. Everyone that I've seen throughout my life running clinics, run the clinic and then disappear. And what the kids want to do is to play the sport. And they can't play the sport if they don't have the ball. So I sat down to think about that and to provide that opportunity. We run clinics in prisons. We run a cricket program for the last 4 years in a maximum security prison, special needs unit in at Melbourne. And if we don't go in, they don't get the opportunity to play. And they get very upset when they go out. They play proper rules. We play on a basketball court. 6 and out is a very different proposition when you've got a barbed wire fence and then an electric fence and then the perimeter fence. There's no jumping the fence to get the ball. So you've got to adjust your rules a little bit. And they really enjoy the opportunity to get outside, engage with each other in a positive environment and have some fun. Yes, they've done bad things. Yes, they've been judged and they're being punished, but they're still human beings and they're still going to come back into our community. And we really work on being positive mentors through the game of cricket for them to be able to enjoy life and to feel valued as members of society. And that's what we do as we go around to all these places. I said there we're linked to a group in Fiji in the bottom right-hand corner you can see there. And I'm going back in February for a week, and we run a clinic or a conference like this for the best 20 to 18 to 24-year-olds, about 60 of them across Fiji. And in the morning we run sessions the same as this. We run sessions about education, about banking, about respect, about positive leadership within your community. In the afternoon they do rugby union trials, bring them, the group that we work with, Wonga and Island Breeze Rugby Plus, then bring them to Melbourne, house them in a base. They work in with the Melbourne Rugby Union sector. They have a pathway into the Melbourne Rebels. And then if they're good enough, they'll get an opportunity to play for the or for the Australian Wallabies. And one player has come from all the way from Fiji and is currently either played last night or playing tonight for the Wallabies. Seffa and Failu, look out for him, a Fijian. They call him the Fijian Flyer because they can't stop him. and he's come through that program where someone gave him an opportunity through sport, and now his huge contract he distributes back to his homeland. And I'm very lucky to meet his father off in a tiny island of Overlau, and in that little village of Vuma that his dad showed me where he played, running up and down on the beach. And every time the rugby was on the TV, he'd run inside and he'd say to his dad, "You're going to see me there one day. That's going to be me." And through Wonga and Island Blees Rugby Plus and our ability to support them, he's done that in doing that. We get amazing support through the Aboriginal community. I'm so lucky, and the only reason I stand here is through support from people who see our vision and understand the power of sport and how it changes lives and gives positive opportunities to kids and keeps them busy and teaches them so much. And Michael Long's one of our ambassadors, and then I've got other high-profile Aboriginal people such as Bevan Mailman, Grant Hansen from the Marngrook Footy Show, all getting Tony Riches, who's the AFL Indigenous pastor, giving us support to go to communities. Our Aboriginal friends in the corner at the back know that the communities, the kids, they love their sport. They live for sport, and they don't have the equipment. They kick around plastic soft drink bottles. How can they be doing that in our country when we're so wealthy? They don't have opportunities through sport with the ball. So we go in there, run clinics, and then leave them the footy to play with. That bottom right-hand corner photo you see there was taken on Elcho Island, which is 2 hours flying time north of Darwin in a small plane, and one of the second most remote Aboriginal communities in Australia. And we arrive and they're all just kicking around plastic soft drink bottles on the oval, running around. Amazing kids, amazing family, amazing culture, and really we appreciated the opportunity to come in to learn and to give them those opportunities. And we ran the clinic and left. Every kid's on the oval kicking a footy around with smiles and happiness. Sorry, I've stuffed that up. That was good. Here we go. I knew the clicker would get me. Why did I create it? Nelson Mandela inspired me. He said, "Sport speaks to youth in a language that they understand." He said, "It's more powerful than governments, race and religion in breaking down barriers and creating hope." And he was dead right. He amalgamated his country at the end of apartheid through the 1995 Rugby Union World Cup. And it's that experience and through sport that we've seen the same thing and done the same thing. How is it that kids in our world are kicking around cardboard boxes instead of balls? We just did a tournament in Uganda, Africa, where we sent over 2 balls, 2 footies, 2 soccer balls and 2 netballs. And Daniel Marley, a teacher from Kampala, he sent back some vision. When the box got there, he opened it up. 200 kids all ran out of their classes yelling and screaming and singing because they'd never seen a real ball before. How can it be in our country, in our world, that kids have never seen a real ball? And we're able to change their lives and show them, most importantly, when I set this up, it was about giving out a ball. But now I've realised it's about giving people hope. It's about saying, yeah, we know you're doing it tough. Yeah, you know you're in a remote community. But you know what? We care about you. We care about you from Australia. We care about you from Melbourne. We care about you from Darwin. And keep going. And look at that smile of that Aboriginal girl there when she got the opportunity to have a footy and play footy and do something that she's really wanted. The top right-hand corner there, you can see an amazing story from one of our board members, Dr. Nathan Grills, from the Nossal Institute of Global World Health. He goes into India in remote villages in the north, and from my understanding, so what he tells me, special needs kids are seen as cursed. So they're cast aside, they're spat on, they're kicked, they're not given food, they have to fend for themselves, which obviously doesn't work very well from a very young age. He goes in there, we donate tennis balls, a 50-cent tennis ball he takes in there, and by the end of an hour session, the other kids that are doing all this victimising and doing all this demonising of these kids are rolling balls, are playing with them and realise through the power of a 50-cent tennis ball that these kids are the same as them. Every single kid is different, but they're the same and they're able to integrate and change lives. The one there of the Fijian boys playing rugby, I was lucky enough to be in that island of Vuma running that clinic. 2 months later, Cyclone Winston went through, destroyed the place. 300 people huddled into the church, and they tell me through their praying, the only building that wasn't blown away was the church, everything else gone. The next day, I got sent that photo with our footage for all rugby ball that I hold here, that they were playing rugby, happy as Larry. They had no food, they had no water, they had no shelter, but you can see the difference that sport made there. We had time for a group selfie, but I've run out of time for talking too much, so we'll have to do that at another day. It only happens through amazing support. My sponsors there, TNT, Ross Faulkner. Ross Faulkner's give over $200,000 worth of footballs for me to distribute through our networks. We have an amazing Facebook and Instagram, and if you're on social media, join us, help us, get involved. Gary Purchase, an amazing Aboriginal artist, has done a design for all our balls. And the amazing thing, I just connected through him through Facebook, told us what we were doing. He said, and asked him if he could put a design on the balls related to community, related to children, related to sport. He said, no worries. And then he told me about his tribe from Botany Bay actually welcomed Captain Cook to Australia. I've somehow had connected with an Aboriginal man whose tribe brought Captain Cook to Australia. And the amazing thing was that when they met Captain Cook, from what he tells me, that they directed them to fresh water. And if he hadn't have done that, the Aboriginal people hadn't welcomed him to Australia, Captain Cook and all his sailors would have died. And yet we don't hear that story of how respectful they were once they worked out they weren't ghosts to bring them to Australia. And normal people from all over Australia, all over the world, doing their little bit to help us out. How can you make your lasting footprint on the world? Like everyone has said here, your self-belief. Believe in yourself, in what you're doing. Okay, perseverance, don't give up. Hard work, and excuse the French, Amy, bloody hard work. That's what will get you there. And amazing support from people, normal people. I'm no hero. I'm just an Uber car driver that gives out balls. Thank you.
The Hero Roundtables are the global events that ask the question, what is a hero? You've just seen one hero talk. To find more and join the conversation, visit our website or social media.